why the ZZ identity, quote unquote, identity narrative fails. And it looks like we're going to be coming back to this again before season 3 actually drops. Interesting stuff. I would really like to see this whole narrative now of how it got lost in the first place. Well, we know why it got lost in the first place, but now it seems like our boy Dinglebub has more evidence.
ZZ lost its identity. The retro urban aesthetic just isn't hitting like it used to be, and it's reflecting in the futuristic fantasy character motifs. But wait, why would an established Geniuses Island follow this 90s retro expectation? So, is the community outrage correct? Or is the world simply defining its cultures? I agree. The retro...
It's defining their culture, in my opinion. Guys, genuinely, right? You can have areas in a whole bunch of different countries have urban settings. Some places in different countries will just be very urban. Some areas will be very country-like or rural. I think that's the word. Very rural, where it's like open and valleys, all that stuff. And we learned this in school. There's the city, there's the suburbs, then there's obviously the countryside. There's obviously 3 different things right there that'll like a population or a city will have. I'm in the suburbs. I've never been in the I've been in the countryside before, but I've never lived in it. I've only like visited probably like family and stuff. And I've been in the big city before. Those are like the 2 main areas I've been in. And both of these areas, pretty urban. But you'll mainly see more of the urban side of things in like the big cities and stuff. Because, you know, that's just how it is, right? But in ZZZ, we're literally going to different parts of the world. Not every part of the world is going to look like New Eridu. I think people should realize that. And it's fine. But let's continue.
Aesthetic isn't the same. But did we really expect the Tony Stark of ZZZ's Flying Island to conform to the same Season 1 retro style? I mean, this is Sunbringer we're talking about. Someone literally worshipped for their technological prowess.
Yeah?
Watering down her island's technology to recycle Season 1 nostalgia would define the betrayal we're so scared of. But I get it. The real criticism stems from her subject.
Yeah, that wouldn't really make sense in the grand scheme of things, right? Sunbringer is worshipped as a god. She created the literal bamboos that we see every day in the game. So why would her, with her technical prowess, her godlike status basically, people worship her as a god, would she still be in an urban setting on the ground? Wouldn't really make sense, right? She wants to be seen as this hierarchy. That's why she got a floating island. And she wants to also express her technological big brain powers, bro. Come on.
It's designs, right? I mean, their outfits don't speak for the urban techie city vibe people would expect from Sunbringer's Island. Wait, did Norma's hat just move? That's not a normal hat. It's a bamboo. And if you see
we learned that, by the way. That's a bamboo.
Her entire outfit is a tech artillery. This matches the futuristic trope expected from Sunbringer subjects. The identity makes sense. But that's just her. Given the outrage Season 3's cast must have betrayed this theme. Right? I mean, look at Remiel. She's just another Siren ripoff with feathery wings. Where is this urban tech influence that will define this island's motif? Wait a second. Those aren't normal wings. They're robotic wings. As a matter of fact, the cybernetic motif matches with almost everybody in this teaser. As expected from, again, the Tech Geniuses Island.
Yup. No magic. People think Ramiel has like crazy tech, quote unquote, magic, but if it was so magical, why would they have robotic wings, is my question. Because people are calling her like the Alicia and the Siren. Those 2 characters are literally like gods. Legit fucking gods. They got magic and bullshit on them too. But why would Ramiel's wings be just completely robotic? And not be like, hey, magic, angel, angelic, holy, light, and all this other bullshit. Aesthetically, it wouldn't really make sense if they just made them purely just angel-like, you know?
So why would we force this analog Season 1 aesthetic? into what's supposed to be some of the pinnacle of new Eridu's technology.
Their argument is flawed.
But hold on, that horse knight is far too retro. Isn't this some contradiction? Not quite. The glowing eyes confirm it's a more modern spin on medieval attire. But why would a modern society take inspiration from such retro design motifs? Well, the answer is simple. The game has always blended them. Don't believe me? Just walk through 6th Street. It's surrounded by this analog aesthetic, while simultaneously bearing this advanced sentient technology. This temporal malleability in the design motif has always been the point. And if
Yeah.
you still don't believe me, the current story is doubling down.
That's impossible. That name, it's from over 100 years ago.
Bell's right. How is a century-year-old Void Hunter perfectly fine right now? Well, the answer is simple. Time in ZZZ has always been a malleable concept. And Fairy's Awakening cutscene in 1.0 dismantles all possible doubts. So if time has always been this morphable concept, why would we restrict it to Season 1's era? And that's the irony. The status quo they're demanding directly contends with the core artistic philosophy of this game. They claim to want identity preservation, but unknowingly advocate for its destruction. So, was the retro-futuristic blend abandoned? No. The setting simply changed, and the culture shifted because of it. And it's not like this is a new concept. Go boot up Breath of the Wild and compare the Hylian's outfits with someone from Gerudo Town.
There you go. There's a reason why I was silent, because I wanted to really let him cook, but I'm glad that he brought up Breath of the Wild as a good example, because it literally is just how cultures change in real life. Cultures in video games also will change too if it's like a big ass world. Hylians dress way differently than obviously the Gerudos in the desert and the hot desert sands. The Gerudos dress with lighter clothing because that desert sand can hit at extreme heats. I forget exactly how, like in game how bad it gets, but you can literally die from dehydration and all that stuff and just being hot in the game. You literally die from extreme heat because it's that fucking hot. And then obviously you have the Zoros. Then you also have the the bird people. I forgot to say their names. I was about to say one of the characters' names. Oh fuck! I don't know how to say their names, but they all have different type. They wear different type of clothing to benefit their environment. The bird people live in the mountains higher up, so their clothing's gonna be more light for capability of flying to be better. The Gerudos wear lighter clothing because they needed to protect themselves from the sun, or the intense sun and stuff like that. When it comes to Hylians, they live in grassland areas. The grass is greener, all that jazz. They don't really need to wear what everybody else is wearing. And Zoros don't really wear clothes. They do, but they don't really need them since they don't really need to wear clothes since their body basically does everything that it needs them to do.
Notice something? They're different. Why? Because the culture and setting changed. But what if they're right? What if New Regions releasing does get them to forget about the old identity? Well, Hoyo's history proves otherwise. With older games like Genshin or HSR releasing characters from older regions years after the regions were made. Hell, even ZZZ does this. I mean, we just went back to Janus Quarter to release the AOD faction. But it doesn't end there. The teaser confirmed involvement from Lower Eridu's police force. These old areas and motifs still exist. But that's not to say some of the opposition arguments aren't valid. The lack of beast tyrants and construct figures steer away from the diverse identity the devs presented the game as.
I can agree with that. I can agree. This will be like the one thing I will agree with them on is the lack of tyrants and the constructs. But I feel like we are gonna get some type of Thyron or construct later down the line. Keep in mind, this is only part 1 of season 3. So there is a potential of another Thyron or construct character coming soon, but we will have to see. Or better yet, maybe Phoenix might be a construct. Who knows? We really don't know because female constructs, they're not like Banyue. Except Arya. Arya is the closest thing to Banyue because she has 2 forms, a human form and her construct form. Which I do hope they would do more construct forms like Arya, because it is pretty cute. Her robot form's cute. I don't really know, like, I don't know, man. I wish they would do more of that.
I'll have to concede that is a fair concern. That being said, I'm gonna refrain from sounding an alarm. Why? Well, A, we haven't seen all the characters yet, and B, we don't know the societal context for this reality. Don't forget, this is yokai we're talking about. Themes of prejudice are going to be in the forefront of these themes. Okay,
yeah, that's another thing too. It's the end. We don't know how the story's gonna go because we don't know how the story's gonna go, and we haven't seen everybody in this season 3 yet. I think that's pretty understandable, right? I think that's genuinely just 100% understandable. We don't know any of these fucking characters.
Objective critiques vindicated and my personal reservations out of the way. It's time to talk about the real issue with this debate. That being, taking subjective bias and presenting it as an objective issue. Take the TV mode discourse for example. The game mode split the community in half. And that's the problem. Even though I have my own reservations about the mode, I can't present them as objective wrongs or rights when so much variance and subjectivity exists in the conversation. It's controversial for a reason. This is why conversations like Sunbringer's boobs or whatever never go anywhere. One person might hate it, but another might love it. It's a purely opinionated take.
Yeah, I mean, that's the realistic part about that one is people complaining about Sunbringer's boobs and stuff. That it literally, that is the one thing that the devs just don't give a fuck about, bro. I'm just saying, right? If the devs really truly cared about the jiggle physics being added on certain characters, like for instance, Quingy, Fufu, Nangan Yu, and Arya and all of them, and then Sunburger supposedly getting breast, it's like, I don't know, man. I feel like that's just a nothing burger. That is just a nothing burger argument that's really going to go nowhere because the design is just going to keep going. Like, we're probably going to see her design in 3.0 or a tease of it and then move on with our lives. People are going to just grab Milfbringer.
But if there's one thing that's not opinionated, it's the fantasy themes that existed in Season 3. Sure, we saw people that matched a technological motif, but we saw some other people dwelling into the fantasy thematics, too. So wouldn't that betray the theme of ZZZ?
No.
Not quite. Since before this game even came out, the devs already told us this game would blend both urban and fantasy themes. Hell, you can go to their YouTube page and confirm the genre yourself. But what exactly is an urban fantasy? Does that mean sci-fi? Not quite. By direct definition from multiple sources, it's a world that blends real-life themes with supernatural concepts. Hell, you've probably watched a few shows that have this genre too. Think Jujutsu Kaisen or My Hero Academia. Those are urban fantasy too. And it's not like the game hides this. Since conception, we've had demons roaming New Eridu. Hell, even the first Void Hunter Miyabi has a talking sword with a flying ghost spirit that accompanies her. So when I see people complaining about Faithin's new form veering away from ZZZ's identity, I just kindly remind them, hey man, these themes are always gonna coexist. That's how the vision of the game was painted.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, Nicole can shoot black holes. Ishwin can summon a whole fucking bird. Whole fucking ether bird. Miyabi's talking sword. Ye Shangwan's summoning flying swords. Like, it's unlimited blade works. There's fantasy in this, guys. They're not abandoning shit with the fantasy. Clearly, the fantasy's all here.
And all of this conversation surrounding preference for Season 1 aesthetics all circle back to the aforementioned thesis. We need to stop presenting subjective criticism as an objective issue. Because when criticism gets replaced with opinions, that is what will truly threaten the identity of ZZZ. But what do I mean by that? Well, take a look at Breath of the Wild's criticism. Even though it's critically acclaimed, there's a loud group of people that miss the traditional Zelda formula. And don't get me wrong, that's a perfectly fine opinion.
That's
to hold.
valid.
So what's wrong? Well, the core issue is the same as the ZZZ identity dispute. They take their personal preference with the original formula and present a change as an objective wrongdoing by appealing to this subjective sense of necessity. If the developers base their game's identity around some loud minority, what happens to their vision? It disappears, doesn't it? And I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to see that happen with ZZZ.
Yeah, I'm happy. That's the one thing people also need to realize when it comes to developers just trying to focus on their niche and their audience they're trying to focus on. Listening to the loud minority does not give them money. It does not give them good criticism or feedback to help improve the game. All it does is squander the vision that they had too for their project. Like, for instance, if I hear some people arguing or complaining that I added, like, maybe, like, a black character into a game, or the black female character is too hot for the game, or where's the representation, I'll be kind of like, well, you know, I can do it, but it's not going to be what you think, right? Because people, when they say representation, they want Concord type representation, and I'm just gonna sit there and look at you like that is not my vision. I want to make some good eye candy for both sides, right? Eye candy of dudes, eye candy of female characters. It don't matter. Someone's gonna look at them and be like, ooh, finger fucking licking good, special, delicious stuff right there. That's the type of reaction I want to get. I don't want no, oh, characters are ass, man. But I love the, I just love seeing all the diversity with the characters. Look at them. They all look like Concord characters. I don't want that. Hell no. That is, nope. Keep that away from me. Keep that shit away from me. But yeah, subjective, a lot of people try to force their subjective criticism and make it the most objective thing possible. Like, it is 100%. I need to do this. I need them to do this. Otherwise, the game is dying. And it's like, that's just not how it's gonna go.
So although I do think their concerns are valid, it's much better to keep critique objective. Because when subjectivity takes the forefront, the integrity behind criticism falls too. And nobody wants their voice to stop mattering.
Yep. I'm so glad Dinglebot made this video again, talking about all of this with more proof since the story's finally here for 2.8. Feels nice. Can't wait to go into season 3 with a big smile on my face and a lot of polls ready. Hope you like this video. See y'all later.